Okay, good evening all. Let us start our first unit again. It won't take much time. I hope I will quickly finish first unit one, Introduction to Artificial Neural Networks. So what is ANN? The first thing we need to understand is what is this ANN? So ANN is actually an information processing system which works similar to our brain processing methodology. So we can simply understand that an artificial neural network is nothing but a simulation of human brain. So whatever a human brain can do, the neural network which we are trying to construct must also do it. So how to design this? For that purpose, we need to understand how a biological neuron works and how all these biological neurons in a human brain system are interconnected together, what are parts of a single biological neuron, what is the responsibility of each neuron there. And then, in how many ways neurons can be connected together, that means architecture of a human brain, biological neuron, possible architectures. And then several types of activation functions which are used to produce outputs from a particular biological neuron. So for that, we'll begin with the biological neuron architecture. So you can see it here. Sometimes so you can see the major part of a biological neuron are actually four parts. Dendrites, this is called soma or cell body, and these are axons, and these are axon terminals. So if you look at the responsibilities of these parts, these dendrites are actually to carry the inputs to the neuron body. This is called soma, where actually the transformation, the biochemical transformation of all the inputs received through these dendrites is done over here. After processing the entire information which is received through dendrites, it sends signals through the uh, myelinated axons. These are called myelinated axon, which is covered with the myelin sheet. So, and these are the axon terminals which will be connected to other neurons and acts as the output carriers. So whatever is produced by this neuron will be carried to the neurons which are connected through these axon terminals over. So this is actually a single neuron. Voice is very low. Is it audible now?
Yes, sir.
Right. So these are the major parts. The first part is soma, where actual processing occurs. Dendrites acts as the input in receiving incoming signals. The main job of the dendrites is receiving incoming signals. Axon is a thin tubular structure which acts as a transmission line which carries the output produced by the soma, and the synapse are the connections between the neurons. Right. So this is the biological neuron, the parts of biological neuron, and their responsibilities. So if you look at what exactly happens in a biological human brain system, is simply this paragraph will explain. Dendrites receive input through the synapses of other neurons. Okay? And the soma process these incoming signals and converts this processed value into an output, which is sent out to other neurons through the axon and synapses. As simple as that. Our artificial neural network also does the same thing, which replaces these parts with some other parts. Let us compare these parts over here. If you look at the artificial neuron architecture, this is actually the soma, which is compared with the human brain, human neuron. This is soma, and these are dendrites, which receives input signals. Okay, and the processing is done over here. With the help of activation function, the outputs are given to the other neurons connected over. So this is actually a simulation to the human brain, the biological neuron and the artificial neuron. If you compare them, I think we have compared these parts of artificial neuron and biological neuron. It is there in our notebook, part by part, and simulate it. And then for calculating the strength of a particular node, the formula used is here. It is simply summation of the input signals received into the strength of the corresponding signal. So summation xi into wi, assuming that xi's are the input signals and wi's are the strengths. And along with these input signals, there may be yes. Okay, done. So the strength of a particular neuron is calculated by using summation xi into wi, and also there may be a special input signal connected to every neuron, which is called as bias, to correct the value produced by your neuron. Right. So this is common. There may or may not be a bias. It depends on the requirement. Okay. Then once this strength of a neuron is calculated, xi into wi, it will be forwarded to an activation function uh, to produce the actual output of the neuron. These activation functions purpose is to convert our output produced by a neuron to fall into a specific domain of values, specific range of values, right? So that is the purpose of activation function. There are several types of activation functions available. Let us go through all the activation functions. The first one is actually linear activation function, which is not visible here. It takes the value, whatever comes as input. That means f of x is equal to x is the linear activation function. So that is as simple as that. It simply goes as a straight line uh, through the origin like this. Okay. And the second activation function is a binary step function, which is also called as threshold activation function. Right? If x is less than 0, then the output produced by this activation function is 0. If x is greater than or equal to 0, then the output produced by the activation function is 1. So this function always produces values between 0 and 1, either 0 or 1, not between. It is always going to be either 0 or 1. So sometimes we may choose a threshold value t for defining this threshold activation function, and we can define like this: if x is less than t instead of 0, if x is less than t, then the output of the activation function will be 0. If x is greater than or equal to the t, which is selected by us, then the output produced by the activation function will be. So either you can go with x less than 0 or x greater than 0, a generalized activation function or a binary step function, or you may choose any other specific threshold value based on your application requirement. Then define the values produced by the activation function is always going to be either 0 or 1. This is threshold activation function. And the third one is sigmoid activation function, which is also called as a logistic function. This always produces the values between 0 and 1. And the formula for calculating the value of input value z when sent through activation function is 1 by 1 plus e power minus n. Okay. And the graph is shown like this. It is a S-shaped graph. I think we have calculated this graph in our classroom lecture. We can go through it to understand how exactly the sigmoid function generates a S-shaped graph. Right. And the fourth one is tanh function, hyperbolic tangent function. It is also called. In sigmoid function, the range is always between 0 and 1. This tanh expands the range from -1 to 1. So the range is now increased. It is from -1 to 1, and we'll apply tanh on the corresponding input to produce the actual output. So f of x is equal to uh, hyperbolic tangent of x. So that is the formula applied there. It is also a shape similar to your S, but not exactly same as that sigma function. And then rectified linear units, ReLU is specifically used in convolution neural networks, the advanced deep learning architectures. The range of this rectified linear unit activation function is going to be 0 to infinity. So it increases the range further from 0 to positive infinity. So if you observe the order of the activation functions, binary step takes either 0 or 1. Sigmoid takes the range between 0 and 1. Tanh function increases the range from -1 to 1. And now this ranges from 0 to infinity. So you need to understand that it is the activation functions are in the order of increasing the range of values produced. So how the values are produced? So for input values less than 0, that means the negative values, the output of the ReLU activation function is always going to be 0. And if the input value x is greater than or equal to 0, then it acts as a linear activation function. So it's a combination of two functions. X less than 0 is part of our sigmoidal binary step function, and x greater than or equal to 0 x acts as a linear function. So it's a combination of two things. Half is from sigmoid, half is from linear activation function. So for all the values less than 0, the curve goes like this, and for all the values greater than or equal to 0, curve acts as a linear straight line. There are actually two variations for this ReLU. One is leaky ReLU, which ranges from -infinity to +infinity. And it is a small change is applied for the negative values. If x is less than 0, then f of x is equal to ax, where this small a is selected as 0.01. Is there in your notebook. And for the values x greater than or equal to 0, it is still going to be the linear activation function. So f of x is equal to x. The change is for the negative values. If x is less than 0, then we will multiply it with a small integer, a small real value 0.0. Okay. So if it is 0.01, then it is called as leaky ReLU. If you can select other values also for a, small a. If you select any other value which is not 0.01, then the ReLU activation function is also called as a randomized ReLU function. So ReLU, leaky ReLU, randomized ReLU. So there are three variations. ReLU ranges from 0 to infinity. Leaky ReLU ranges from minus infinity to plus infinity. And the randomized ReLU also ranges from minus infinity to plus infinity. But we select the other value for a rather than 0.0. Then softmax activation function is actually used in the output layer of deep learning architectures, not in other things. And, this is also same as sigmoid activation function, which ranges the values between 0 and 1. But when it is applied in a particular layer, the another restriction is the total sum of the outputs produced in a particular layer will be equal to 1. So it is spread over the neurons in a particular layer. That means if the output produced is 1 and there are 4 neurons in a particular output layer, then the output will be 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, or it will be spread like if you sum up all the outputs of activation functions in a particular layer, the total must be equal to 1. So that is the additional restriction in softmax activation function, and this is the formula we make use of. We have solved this. We have solved this with an example in our lecture notes. You can go through that class notebook to understand how it works. So that's it. These are the activation functions. An important question for your examination point of. Then coming to the architectures, neural network architectures. Wait a moment. Architectures specify how the neurons are interconnected together. The basic model of neural network architecture is a perceptron, which actually shows a single neuron. Of course, it is showing three neurons here. These yellow things are actually inputs, not neurons. This is the only neuron which is over here. So in feed-forward neural networks, that means multi-layer perceptrons, you will have number of layers, and all the neurons are interconnected together. So what you need to understand here is most of the neural network architectures are fully connected. That means every neuron of a particular layer I is connected to every neuron of the layer I plus 1. So that is every architecture in real-time artificial neural networks follows the same rule. Every neuron in layer I is connected to every neuron in layer I plus 1. That is compulsory. We call them as feed-forward neural networks with the architecture like that. And then other thing is radial basis function neural network. This is same to your feed-forward networks, except that the activation function is special in this neural network, which is called as radial basis activation function. Whereas in other neural networks, we may choose logistic functions or something else. We can use any other functions which are discussed the above architectures, types of architecture. This radial basis function neural network makes use of only radial basis function or Gaussian function, Green's function, any variation of Gaussian function we can use, except that it is still same as feed-forward neural network. And in neural network, recurrent neural network, the every cell is connected to itself, which means it can correct the output produced by itself. You can see this. Every hidden neuron is connected to itself. That means the output produced by the neuron is again connected back to it, uh, so that it can identify and analyze the output produced, and it can correct itself. So recurrent neural network contains like this. If you look at the architecture summary, uh, there are actually two types: feed-forward neural networks or feedback or recurrent neural network. In feed-forward neural networks, the outputs are always moves forward, and in recurrent neural networks, the output of a hidden neuron is fed back to itself. So that's it. Wait for a minute. So that's all for the class. It's a simple lesson. You can easily go through it and come back on next Thursday with second unit. So I request all of you to join in the next class, which is going to be the most important one because it discusses all the learning strategies in the next class. So ask your friends to join in the next session on Thursday. Thank you all. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.